aftermath of the disappointing outing of Team Nigeria in the just concluded Olympic game, and to also start charting a course, a way forward, so that next edition will not also continue to tell the same tale of wrong narratives again.
One of the officials of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria came out to say that Favour Phili is answerable to the Athletic Federation of Nigeria and not the sport ministry. You know, if she doesn't switch allegiance, with all of this happening, do you think she's in the safe hands, talking about being in the hands of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria?
From all indication from this Cold War, it's very clear that she's not in a safe hand. You know, we have other records to look back as well. There are some part of the D-Tigress team in last administration where they actually came to also express their disappointment because of the fact that there was some trouble that was brewing in the leadership of the Nigerian Basketball Federation at some point, where they had to disband them for some years not to take part, and that is how we missed the World Cup. So some of those players also went on air to express their disappointment. And do you know what happened? Those names, they have been singled out for vilification. Some of them, even they just concluded Paris Olympic game, even the Afro Basketball Championship that we won, some of them were not invited. You have the same sisters. I don't want to mention them so that we don't go back to start digging, you know, unpleasant scene in the past. So if you ask me, if there's anything to go by from this seemingly Cold War, I think Favour Phili not safe, going by the past record of some sport ministries. Whenever any athlete comes out to air his or her opinion, it will be read in different meanings by the body that be, that it look as though they are, such person is trying to counter their position or opinion and disposition, which for me, I think that is why I said that Favour Phili at this point in time might not be very, very safe. So if some members, highly revered members of the committee, is also coming out to make this statement that Favour Phili is very uncontrollable, you begin to think what that means. You begin to think the anger and the acrimony that such member is nursing in his or her heart before he could make such statement. For a young lad that just expressed her disappointment of not taking part in the 100, and they are taking it to heart, it means that they are counting malice against her if you say that she's uncontrollable. Because I don't know what that means. That you came out to say that you are not happy, that you fought so hard 4 good years, you know, to make it to the Olympic game, and you discover that at the kick of the tournament, you discover that you are not taking part in what you worked so hard for 4 good years, and you are telling me that I should not express my disappointment. But then it looks as though they are not taking it in good faith, talking about the Athletic Federation. That is why I'm saying that Favour Phili might not, you know, just save as it stands right now, going by past record.
So will you encourage her switching allegiance?
Well, as a patriotic Nigerian, I want to say that Favour Phili is her own. And of course, she has a long way to go. She still has a very bright future at her young age. I think there's still room for improvement in terms of correcting some of the wrongs in the past from the administrative angle in terms of the Nigerian Olympic Committee and the Nigerian Athletic Federation. I still believe that if they are ready to learn some lessons and correct some of those mistakes they made in the past, then they can also reposition the federation for good. And that means that most of our athletes that have faced one challenges or the other will have a brighter future to also stand in a better position to express their talent when AFN have actually put their self in order. So I'm not encouraging Favour Phili to switch allegiance, though naturally as humans, when you feel aggrieved, you may want to look for next alternative option so that at least you use it as a platform to also continue to pursue your career. Because in as much as she's been patriotic, she also need to look at her career, you know, because if you want to go far, you cannot express your truly God-given talent with such a federation that look as though they are careless about the thing that they ought to do. So I will ask Favour Philly to hold on and still trust the process. Only if the Athletic Federation will take some lesson, I believe we can still address some of these issues.
Talking about trusting the process and some of the issues being addressed, we've seen so many of our athletes switching allegiance, to other countries, participating for other countries in competitions like the Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, and World Athletic Championship. Has there been any step taken by the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, the Sport Ministry, to address some of these things that makes our athletes to shift attention or to switch allegiance to participate for other countries?
I think it's another big question, because have there been taking any step, a pragmatic step towards addressing some of these challenges that have allowed most of our talented athletes to switch allegiance? I think if you ask me, I would say no. Because if they've actually been up and doing to tackle some of these challenges, we wouldn't be hearing some of the names. Even the girl that won the hammer throw for United States of America is just a few among the many of Nigerians that have actually switched allegiance to other countries as well. So I think taking a look at what they've done, talking about the Nigerian Athletic Federation over the years, it looks as though we are not doing enough in order to address these challenges, and that is why we keep seeing Nigerian athletes switching allegiance to other countries. So in that regard, I think at this point, the Nigerian Athletic Federation just need to start living up to the expectation, because if they don't address all these anomalies, our athletes will continue to move in drones to represent other countries, and that will be very bad for the country.
All right, so let's see how it goes. We hope that things will be done properly going forward. The Athletic Federation of Nigeria really needs to address all of these issues. Sport Ministry also have to weigh in to see how they can, put all of these anomalies, and bring it, to an end, so that our athletes can have a favorable ground, a comfortable environment, to participate and to go out there to represent the country. So let's just see how it goes. And that comes to my mind, Michael. Most of the time we'll see some of our athletes switching allegiance to other countries and ending up performing very well. Whereas when they were participating or competing for Nigeria, they do not even perform like the way, of course, we've seen, especially in the just concluded Paris Olympic Games.
Yeah, and the reason is very simple. When they switch allegiance to other countries, the other countries to which they become their home state, that becomes their nationality, they have everything good going for them in terms of their administrative structures. You don't get to see all these lapses. Their welfare is properly taken care of. The training facilities that they train with is a top-notch facility that even if you don't want to improve, you must find a reason to improve, because the facilities are there for you to improve on your games. Talking about the welfare care, it is also there that even some of these countries, they make it in a way that you can even be able to have some loans or even a welfare package that after your retirement, you are still being paid for life. So if such care is being given to you, knowing fully well that if you represent this country and you get to win any medal, your name enters into the pay book for life, that even if after you might have served the country at your peak and retired, you still get some help from all angles. Why won't you double your effort to ensure that you give your best out there? So this is the reason why there seems to be doing better. Not that there seems, they are doing better when they switch allegiance to other countries compared to Nigeria, because of, one, the administrative system is, different. They have more stable administrative system over there. They have better facilities for this athlete to train with. They know what they ought to do at every given point in time to ensure that the welfare of such athlete is properly taken care of during and after every competition. Even transcend beyond competition till when you retire. So when you get such platform, why won't you give your best? So that is all the difference. So a lot we need to do right here in the country in terms of administration, in terms of welfare package for athletes, in terms of providing the necessary facilities. These are things that we must properly put in check if we truly want our athletes to be giving their best. If not, we'll continue to talk about the same thing year after year, and that is very bad.
All right, let's stay away from athletics this evening as I will take a look at football. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has congratulated Edo Queens for securing a place in the finals of the CAF Women's Champions League WAFU B qualifier after defeating FC Inter de Abidjan of Ivory Coast 2-1 in their semi-final match yesterday. Edo Queens took an early lead in the semi-final encounter thanks to MMSN Y Blessing Ili Veda doubled the advantage before the hosts reduced the deficit. The Nigerian Women Football League champions have been impressive in the tournament, winning their group with a 100% record, and the winner of the competition will pick the only slot for the WAFU B at the 2024 CAF Women's Champions League in November. The Queens are aiming to become the third Nigerian team to feature in the tournament, introduced in 2021 after Rivers Angels and Bayelsa Queens. First of all, Michael, what do you make of the performance of the girls in the qualifiers?
Impressive. They have been very impressive so far for the qualifying series of the WAFU championship out there. If you take a look at their record so far in the matches played, I think they have 100% record so far. And it looks as though they just continue to ride on very high where they stopped last season. As a defending champion, as a champion of the just concluded season of the Nigerian Women Football League, you saw how they fought very hard against the likes of Rivers United and other top female clubs right here in the country to emerge champion of the Nigerian Women Football League. And of course, they've taken that same approach, that same unity, that same synergy is still there because they did not sell any of their players. From my findings and record, some of the bulk of the players that just won the Nigerian Premier Football League, they are still very there. They are still intact. You understand the synergy that exists among the players, and they've taken that from also, to the WAFU B Championship. And I tell you, they will definitely pick the ticket going. Looking at what they are doing right now, because I don't see any other team standing in their way from what I've seen from their game so far.
All right, let's say it goes for Edo Queens. We hope that they get the tickets at the end of the day. But at this point, we'll take a short break. When we'll come back from the break, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the Nigerian Football Federation. We told you that the search for a new Super Eagles coach is still on. And of course, we'll take a look at what the NFF has done so far to get a new coach for the Super Eagles. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're welcome back, see Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. We just talked about the case between Favour Philly and the Athletic Federation of Nigeria. Not forgetting Edo Queens looking forward to pick the ticket for the CAF Women Champions League. Looking very much, of course, interesting. Going unbeaten, of course, in about 4 games we've seen them play, and it's been a very impressive one. We hope they get the tickets at the end of the day. But we told you that the search for a new Super Eagles coach is still on. The NFF, of course, making effort to, of course, get a new coach for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But taking a look at this, Michael, today we got to reports that 2 coaches have been shortlisted. And first is the man from Sweden, talking about Ken Anderson. And Harvey Renard, he's been in the picture for a very long time now. But I think the NFF are still dragging their feet in terms of, paying him the salary he wants, $125 million. That's what we heard from Harvey Renard. But that of Ken Anderson, we haven't heard how much he will be demanding. He's talking about his salary at this point in time. But what do you make of it? Ken Anderson, Harvey Renard, the 2 coaches on ground now at this point, you think they are good options?
Well, to start with, Kingsley, I think there's only one option there that I will go for personally if I were to be the NFF or the NFF technical committee. In fact, it is an error in the first place to even include the name of Ken Anderson on the short list of the possible coach that is going to take up the helm of affair for the Super Eagles. Why?
Really an error?
Of course.
Joseph Pesiro didn't have anything much in his CV when he took over the Super Eagles, and he took them to the finals of the AFCON.
And that is the achievement. He took us to the final of the AFCON. That is the achievement for Joseph Pesiro. Is that the achievement I want as a nation?
What if he has won the AFCON?
That is what if. You are putting a clause, what if. That is what if. There's always a first time. And of course, for Ken Anderson...
That's what I said. You totally ruling Ken Anderson out of the picture.
Because I've actually gone through his CV. I've actually gone through his profile. And one thing very striking is that he has not even coached away from Sweden before in his career, having managed some clubs out there in the Swedish league. And this same coach failed to qualify for the Swedish national team football for the last World Cup in 2022. Also failed to qualify them for the just concluded Euros. Having not played any African football, rather coached any African team in time past. How do you think that he has the experience that is going to take him, to get the job and also help the Super Eagles navigate their way through the hard position that we find ourselves in terms of the World Cup qualifier, where we are below par, behind the likes of South Africa, Benin Republic, or even Rwanda. That is how bad and how terrible the situation is. And you want to go bring a rookie coach that has no proper background, has no good coaching CV to come and help navigate the water of the Super Eagles. That is why I said that for me it was a very wrong inclusion as one of the supposed coach of the Super Eagles. I think the only man you talk about, maybe for Harvey Renard, yeah. Why? Because at least he has a very good CV in terms of having the in-depth knowledge of how African football works. Having coached the Chipolopolo of Zambia, led them to win the African Cup of Nations in 2012. One might argue and say, yeah, he did that. If he did that once with the Chipolopolo of Zambia, you may say, yes, he did that by fluke. But no, he also replicated the same feat by winning the same African Cup of Nations with a different team, talking about Ivory Coast in 2015. So for such a man that has depth knowledge of African football, I think that is the only man that might possibly, for me, fit into the picture at this point, because he have a very good base in terms of the African football. He have a very depth knowledge in terms of African football. His CV speaks volume, and I think that is the only man that can be able to help the Super Eagles get away from this very difficult situation by giving us the World Cup ticket and the African Cup of Nations ticket. But my thinking is that hence his salary is very high. If there's anything to go by what we are hearing, he has said that he will cost the sum of $125,000. Now, NFF is saying that they don't have such money to cough out. But we want a quality coach that is going to help the Super Eagles. Now, if you want a quality coach, why not cough out that money? Get him, give him a mandate, insert a clause into his contract, give him a short-term contract, and see what he can be able to do. The clause should be qualify the Super Eagles for the World Cup, give us the African Cup of Nations ticket. If he fulfill this mandate by delivering on these two clauses, then that is where you are going to revisit or review his contract term. Then you can be able to stand in a very clean slate and also say, yes, I think the salary is too big, we are going to terminate your contract. And by then they will have an ample time to source for a quality coach that will be less expensive. Why? Because he has delivered on the World Cup ticket, he has delivered on the African Cup of Nations ticket. Then you have time to look around and look for a better coach with less price tag. I think that is what I'm just thinking, because if you take a look at the short time we have, with less than a few weeks right now, the African Cup of Nations qualifier will kick off. And you need a good coach that will be able to give us the result. Looking at a short period of time, if you go and just bring anyhow coach just because you are saying you don't have the money, we are going to get anyhow result. It simply means that we will continue to dangle, we will continue to falter. The World Cup ticket is in jeopardy. The African Cup of Nations, even the teams that we find ourselves in the same World Cup group, it is also some of the team that is also is in our African Cup of Nations team. So it is a team that understands us better. These are teams that have beaten us in the World Cup qualifying series. So going to face such a team again within the shortest period of time, and you want to manage, because you say you don't have money, you want to go for the lesser coach with a lesser pedigree and qualification. That is the coach you want to bring to come and change the situation. How will that work? So if you ask me, I would say it again, that the NFF Technical Committee, they have goofed in even including Anderson in the short list of those who is gunning for the job of the Super Eagles, because we are in a very critical condition.
All right, let's see how it goes. Michael is saying Anderson is not supposed to be in the picture. Harvey Renard is the man, but the NFF are complaining they don't have money. We hope that they maybe at the end of the day bring out this amount of money to hire Harvey Renard as a Super Eagles coach, because that's the man all Nigerians are rooting for, and we'll see how that one, of course, will go down. But away from the Nigeria Football Federation, let's talk about some interesting stories coming from Europe, as Manchester City midfielder Phil Foden has won the Professional Footballers Association Men's Player of the Year award. It is the first time since the 2009-2010 campaign that both men's award have gone to English players, when Rooney and James Milner won the Player and the Young Player of the Year prizes respectively for that season. Foden scored 19 goals in 35 top-flight appearances in 2023 and 2024 season as City won a historic 4th successive Premier League, and at the age of 23 he became the youngest player to have won 6 league titles. This is the first time the Stockport-born playmaker has been the PFL player of the year, having twice been selected as the best young player. He also won the 2023 and 2024 Premier League Player of the Season award and was named the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year. Foden beat his teammate Erling Haaland, who won the award last year, and Rodri, as well as Chelsea, Cole Palmer, Arsenal, Martin Odegaard, and Aston Villa's Oli Watkins, who were on the short list in that
particular one. Michael, what do you make of this one? Phil Foden had an impressive season. Talking about his last season. Had an impressive, outing last season.
Yes, of course, he did. And truly deserving of the award for me because he did very well last season for the Citizens. He was very instrumental for Manchester City winning their fourth EPL in a row. He was very, very instrumental. He played a very vital role. And I think for me, he truly deserved this award, beating the likes of Cole Palmer, who was very good as well for the Chelsea side. And the Aston Villa striker, talking about Oli Watkins, I think if you take a look at the contribution of Phil Foden last season for Manchester City, I think without his contribution, Manchester City would not, yes, I repeat, would not have won the EPL title for the fourth straight time. Looking at the way Arsenal were closely following Manchester City last season. In fact, the league had to be settled on the last day of the league, where Manchester City actually did the needful. Whereas Arsenal was hoping that, West Ham should do them some favor. So I believe with all of his contribution for last season, it made it very, very difficult for Arsenal to dethrone them. If not, take away the 19 goals that he scored in all competition, out of 30-something league games that he's played. I think Arsenal, looking at the way they were going for the jugular against Citizen last season, it would have been very difficult for Manchester City to also leave the English Premier League, the fourth consecutive. And so for me, I think for Phil Foden, he truly deserved the award.
Truly deserving down there for Phil Foden. But for the Women's Player of the Year, went to Bonnie Shaw. That's also a Manchester City player. And for the Men's Young Player of the Year, went to Cole Palmer. Talking about Cole Palmer has an impressive time as well with Chelsea. And of course, the Women Young Player of the Year went to Grace Clinton. Plays for Manchester United. And Championship Player of the Year went to Crescencio Sumovi, plays for Leeds United. And League One Player of the Year went to Avi Mill, who plays for Charlton Athletics. And League Two Player of the Year went to Jody Jones, who plays for Notts County down there. What do you make of the names in talking about those, of course, the awardees last night?
I think truly deserving, especially for the team of the season. You also, we must also talk about that. We have some team of the season as well that comprises most of Manchester City and Arsenal players as well. Having one coming from Liverpool and Aston Villa, maybe the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Oli Watkins, Arsenal, Martinelli, to mention a few of them are there. So I think truly deserving, for team of the season. And then you talk about the individual award. I think of Palmer as well was very instrumental for Chelsea, finishing 6th last season with his impressive display for Chelsea, having, left Manchester City, the previous season to join the Chelsea Football Club, and especially not even trained for the Chelsea side during the preseason before the league kicked off. But then he went to Chelsea and he slotted in seamlessly for the Mauricio Pochettino-led side, and of course did his best to ensure that Chelsea left their ever-seated 12th position right from most of the season, where they were revolving with interchanging or interswitching within 11th and 12th position. But then, without the help of Cole Palmer, I think it would have been very, very difficult for Chelsea Football Club last season to finish in the 6th position. But with his impressive display and the goals that he scored, I think he made that possible. So I think he truly deserves. And for the female category, we also saw a Manchester City player talking about their player also winning an individual award for themselves. So if you take a look at the individual award won by those players, taking in stock what all of them did last season, I think you will say truly deserving individual award from all the players.
And talking about the team of the year, you mentioned down there in goal, we saw David Raya of Arsenal, and in defense, we saw the likes of Kyle Walker William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal, Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool, and in midfield we saw Rodri, we saw Declan Rice as well from Arsenal, Martin Odegaard, and in forward Phil Foden is there, Erling Braut Haaland, Ollie Watkins, of course, from Aston Villa, completed the for the team all for the year. But away from that, Michael, things are not going that well at Chelsea because we hear Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell have been excluded from Chelsea's squad for the UEFA Conference League playoff against Servette. The Blues will travel for the first leg of the tie tomorrow. Now, both Sterling and Chilwell were dropped for their first Premier League fixture of the campaign against Manchester City. Now, Sterling is believed to be considering his option with a few days left, and Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca said last week that Chilwell is free to leave the club. According to Maresca, the England left back does not fit into his style of football. So it is now Chilwell. Chilwell has been added now to the team of surplus players at Chelsea, and for what we're saying, Raheem Sterling is also surplus at this point in time. What do you make of it? Already, Conor Gallagher has left the side. Chelsea losing experienced players. Is it a good one?
Well, it might not be a good one, losing their experienced players. But then, I think they are thinking of playing to the rules of the FFP, meaning they want to balance their book. Don't forget they have over 40-something players. Players in their first team squad right now, and listening to Enzo Maresca last night, he made it very clear that he has been working with 21 players, which he think are the people or the players that best fit to his philosophy that he want to interpret within the Chelsea rank out there. And having 40-something players as a first team player, you need to prune down the squad because they have over-bloated squad. So it is not surprising why they are letting go some players. Also here, the coach simply told Raheem Sterling and Chilwell that of course they are good players, but then all of them cannot play in one team because they have a limited number of players that will be registered as a first team squad, and that is why players like Ben Chilwell, Raheem Sterling, their future is in doubt. Conor Gallagher has left. Mado Broja have left for Ipswich Town on loan. Many of their players, Bradley as well, also left as well on loan. So Chalobah not also excluded. In fact, in the days to come, you are still going to see many Chelsea players leave. About 10 or even 12 of them will still leave. Don't forget, they've actually signed about 13 players so far this season, and you know what that means. Signing 13 good players, that is a full squad plus extra. Adding that to their full squad of last season plus extra, that is how bloated the squad is. And of course, they need to tame down or trim the over-bloated squad size that they have right now. So it is not surprising why they are letting go some of these players. Most of these players are very good. They did their bid in last season. The likes of Conor Gallagher, who has been a Chelsea all through. Since the age of 6, he has been there till now. At some point, captained the team during some of the games, and he has given his all, fought so hard to even ensure that Chelsea were able to finish 6th position last season. So many of their fans might not be very, very happy that they are letting their best players who have graduated from the academy, who understand the philosophy of the team for years right now. The likes of even Chalobah as well was from the academy. He grew through the rank. Letting them go that way is not good. Their fans are not really happy, but then the coach is trying to find a balance of a team or a squad that can be able to play the kind of football that he wants to interpret at Chelsea, and that is why some of these players need to go.
All right, talking about players leaving, we'll understand that Ike Gundogan, Manchester City has reached an agreement with Barcelona for the man to return to Etihad. What do you make of Ike Gundogan returning to Manchester City?
It's a big news for him because don't forget, this is where he left when his contract expired. Even before leaving, it wasn't that easy for Pep Guardiola to let him go. He actually persuaded him to stay, just that the contract terms wasn't favorable for Ike Gundogan, and that is why he left for Barcelona. And Barcelona, the reason is very simple. You know, they are trying to balance their book. In fact, as it stands, they have not registered Dani Olmo, who they just signed this season, because they need to balance the book before, you know, they actually register him. And Ike Gundogan is one of the highest earner at Barcelona. So you know what that means. If they don't let go of some of these their highest earner, they cannot register some of the players that they've even signed. Then for Ike Gundogan coming back to Manchester City, I think it's a nice one, because he will fit in seamlessly. It's just 1 year that he left, so the structure, the pattern of play, the style, everything is still very much intact. He can just go there and solve the issue of letting the Alvarez that they let go. So for me, I think it's a good one. Don't forget, he has been with this team and he has won complete 14 trophy during his time at Etihad. Coming back this time around, I think it's even a bigger opportunity for him to also continue to win trophy and laurels for himself.
All right, so still talking about transfers, Liverpool are reportedly closing to signing Valencia goalkeeper Gorgi Mamadashvili as manager and slots for summer signing at Anfield. According to reports, Mamadashvili will put pen to paper on a move to the Reds, with Premier League giant spending a rumored £34 million on his services. Liverpool identified the Hero 24 star as a potential addition earlier in the summer and worked hard to fend off interest from Newcastle United, who were also interested in the goalkeeper. The likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid and Inter Milan had also been credited with interest in Mamadashvili. And meanwhile, in another development, Manchester City are now the signing of Naomi Lascelles from Bristol City. The 20-year-old defender joined City women's team after committing to a 4-year deal. But Michael, before I will call this a wrap on the show, Liverpool going for their first signing this summer under the new manager, talking about and slots. Talking about the goalkeeper, a lot of top teams seems to, were actually looking for his services before Liverpool made this, giant approach. What is so about the man?
It's very simple. He's very good, both on one-on-one occasion, and he's also very good in his feet. You know, this modern-day football, coaches are beginning to tilt toward signing goalkeepers that can build from the back. A goalkeeper that we call it a sweeper goalkeeper. A goalkeeper that is very comfortable playing on his feet as well. You know, this is the modern era of football, and this is what most coaches is going for. The likes of Juventus, I think they also needed him, the likes of Real Madrid as well. But then Liverpool seems to be having the upper hand right now. I think it's going to be a very good addition for the Reds out there. And this is going to be Ancelotti's first signing. You know, before he pushes for such a goalkeeper, I think he understands what he wants in the team. And that is why he's bringing a very reliable backup, for Liverpool. So I think it's going to be a good move for him.
All right, at this point, we'll call it a wrap on the show. And tomorrow we'll be back by 7 a.m. To bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Really been an impressive time this evening talking sports. Michael.
Yeah, always a pleasure doing this with you.
Don't forget, please, it's always the pathways to progress. You can go down to different social media handles. The conversation continues right there. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.